Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Mercedes Lawson. She is an uh, award-winning realtor, entrepreneur, single mom, and we'll learn from her about her journey from small town life to real estate success. We'll learn about insights on home buying, selling, and the power of community connections. Welcome to the show, Mercedes.
Thank you so much for having me today.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Mercedes. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll learn from you about real estate, family, as well as community success. But before that, let's understand a bit about your journey, your background, so that people know who they are listening to.
Sure, sounds great. So I grew up in a small town in Canada. I grew up with a family of entrepreneurs. I'm currently a single mom of two, and I'm a real estate agent. Before real estate, I spent over 10 years working in the fashion industry, and I pursued my dream job working in Sydney, Australia. After becoming a mom, I really needed a career that offered more flexibility and financial independence. So real estate was really the perfect fit. It allowed me to build something for myself while still being present with my kids, which was really important to me. So, of course, it hasn't been easy, but I've learned so much along the way. And I feel that I'm thriving as a mom, thriving as an entrepreneur, and really happy that I made that career choice and where I am today.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Mercedes. So I want to understand, that shift from fashion world to, to the grind of real estate sector. Help us understand why did you shift from that particular line to this line, and when did this burger thing happen? Was it before that or in between?
So I grew up, my family started a famous restaurant in Canada called Weber's Burgers, where I learned a lot of my skills. It was a very fast-paced work environment. It was open only in the summer at the time, and we would serve hundreds and hundreds of people a day, line up, way out the restaurant. So it was a very fast-paced environment, and I started working there when I think I was about 10 years old. So from a young age, I had it instilled in me the importance of a work ethic, and I think that that's really shaped me to who I am today. So that's where the burgers started. Then from burgers, I always actually thought I would be in the restaurant industry, but I had such a strong passion for fashion. So I pursued school in fashion business, where I then got into fashion wholesale. So I would sell to the retailers, and it was a very, very fast-paced environment as well. A grind, no less than real estate is, and sales. So always in front of people, always, customer comes first mentality, which is what I learned as a young kid working at the restaurant. And that very much translated into fashion and then translated into real estate. So to go back, I guess, to when I made the switch, I was about 27 years old, living in Australia. And I was brought home for, unfortunate circumstances with my mom being terminally ill with breast cancer. And at that point, I decided to take a leave of absence from my job, working in fashion, and come home to take care of her for the very short time I had with her. While I was home, I ended up, life happened, and I ended up having children and ended up staying in Canada. So didn't end up going back to Australia. And real estate was always something in the back of my mind. I always thought, I should be selling more than jeans and t-shirts. I worked for a family for a long time, a Jewish family, and they always made a joke and said, when I was, I was probably 20 at the time, and they said, you're like a 40-year-old Jewish salesperson trapped in a 20-year-old's body. So sales always came naturally to me. I always loved people, and I always thought, yeah, I should be selling something bigger ticket. So real estate had always been, I had books laying around, but I just never made the switch. In my 20s, I loved the fashion industry. I loved the traveling that I got from it, the exposure to the world and to different cultures. I went, I was often in Amsterdam, Las Vegas, New York, California. And then my last trip was Australia, where I then decided, okay, I have to move here and work for this fashion company. And that's how I ended up there. So once I had kids, the fashion industry, I did work in the fashion industry back in Toronto again for a bit, trying to manage having a young baby and commuting to the city. But it became very tiring very quickly. The traveling was very hard with the little one. So I decided, okay, you know what? Now's the time to pivot into real estate. It was a
Ab-
very hard decision, but
Absolutely. So why real estate, not any other? And how did you evaluate your skill sets in terms of, okay, I've got this from by being at your burger work, and this from your fashion work, and these are the things that you will use in real estate, because these are important decisions of life. So I want to understand, and it needs a lot of good thinking, belief also, about moving into an industry which is predominantly uh, males there. Men are more in the real estate sector.
yeah, you know what? That is so true. It definitely has been a male dominant industry. They call it, even the old boys club, lots of that older real estate. It has definitely shifted in every sector. We are seeing so many women in the industry. I was at a lunch breakfast meeting a month ago, and my manager, who's female, the owner of my brokerage, is also female, and she has 10 different brokerages. And when she did it, man, that was a male dominant world. If you asked her how she could have done it, she didn't think she could, but she did. So my manager looked around the room and said, "Look around." There was 2 males in the entire room out of 40 agents. And we said, you know what? The world has changed, right? We are shifting. So at the time, I wasn't worried about it being a male dominant industry. It wasn't really something that I was worried about, because every industry, kind of was, or, weighed heavier on the male side of things. But I knew that sales, I guess I was always driven to be in sales. I knew that my sales skill was transferable into any industry. And I always loved housing. I just always loved it. My mom definitely inspired that passion in me. She was always into home decor and loved, popping into open houses. So maybe that's where it kind of stemmed from as a child, was her passion for it. And I always had it in the back of my head, one day I'm going to be a real estate agent. So I didn't know when, I didn't have a plan, but definitely when I knew I needed a change in my life, and that it wasn't working for my family, wasn't working for my baby, it wasn't working for my partner to be traveling in a way so often, I thought real estate would allow me to have, that flexibility, like I mentioned, allow me to be home with my family, to be close to home, to work, anywhere as well. So, right now where I sell real estate, I can take my business and move it anywhere. You're going to start, over in a sense, but all your skills are transferable, and you can really, sell internationally. If I want to retire in Florida or Mexico, I can do that. So I really liked that aspect of it, that I wasn't tied to the fashion industry. I had to work in Toronto. So I was about an hour away from there, and working from home and having a local office here, but being able to just be so mobile, that definitely was my driving force into getting into real estate.
Absolutely, Mercedes. So, did you have any particular expectations from the real estate industry at that point in time? What would you advise someone who is you wanting to be get into real estate? Someone very young and with lots of maybe they think that in real estate, because it's a big ticket industry, I can make money quickly. A lot of people talk about passive investment and all that. So that's why I asked, did you have any particular expectation? What's your advice to someone who wants to enter into this industry, say your local industry? What would you like to advise them?
Yeah, I didn't have any expectations per se. I think probably a lot of young people now getting into the real estate. We have a very famous show called Selling Sunset, and they think it's going to be like that, like on TV. And it's not. It's a grind. It's a hustle. It's hard work. So I think that you just don't wait for the perfect moment, because there isn't one. You just need to start. And you have to trust yourself and timing. So it might not be right now. You may have other commitments where it's not allowing you, but when the moment is right and you have to listen to that intuition, that little voice inside you that's pushing the dial, that's pushing you towards trying something new, and follow that. So take small steps every day towards your goal. Don't be afraid to ask for help, whether that's a mentorship, or networking, or just leaning on friends and family for support. And I think just more importantly, like, believe in yourself, because you are capable of way more than what you think.
Absolutely. So much is it, but real estate as well as balancing family, two kids. How did you do it initially? How did you manage it? And how does it look like? Have you been able to control it now better than earlier?
Yeah, great question. So, how do I balance running a successful business? I mean, it's definitely a juggling act. I don't think balance is about doing everything perfectly. It's really about knowing what deserves your focus at any given moment. So, I plan my days carefully. I make sure that I have enough time for my kids and enough time for my business and enough time for myself, and setting clear boundaries. I think those things have all come with age. My 20-year-old self wouldn't have been able to look at that and see those things clearly. But the older you get and just the more experience you have, you really realize the importance of something like boundaries. Where when I was younger, I'd say, well, what do you mean? You just work as much as you can. You answer every call. But now it really is about, just setting a boundary, telling a client, hey, I'm at a hockey game with my kid. I will give you a call back in an hour. So you still have to get back to people right away. And I think that that's really important. But let them know when you're going to get back to them. So don't just turn your phone on silent and get back to them when you feel like it, because real estate is an environment that's very fast paced, that you will lose your clients if you do that. So communication is key. And I would say, I guess, everything I do with my whole heart. So when I'm working, I give it my all. When I'm with my kids, I try to truly be present. And I've learned that self-care isn't a luxury. It's necessary to keep everything running smoothly. So self-care has been very, very important to my mindset, to my business, to my children. A lot of that, self-care goes with, doing yoga, cold plunging, saunas, exercising for my 20 minutes in the morning, just simple things like that. And I think that that's really how I do balance, being a mom and also being a independent business owner.
Absolutely. So, Mercedes, you make it sound very easy, but self-care, having boundaries, making others follow those boundaries are not very easy, especially when you are in a real estate business and you have to have a network. So how do you balance these parts? Boundaries, how do you calibrate boundaries as well as, in terms of networking? How do you do that?
You definitely have to have a support team. I think, once I realized I wasn't scared to ask for help, that's when my life really started to change. Because if you try to do everything yourself, it is impossible, right? With two little kids, how can I run out to a showing, or how can I get to that networking event, or be at my son's hockey game or my daughter's dance recital? You can't, and you can't be everything. So, but a lot of people say they don't have their family, right? Or like me, I lost my mom, so I don't have my mom. My father is very busy and is an hour away, and I haven't seen them in 4 months. So find your people, right? Find your people that can help support you. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's another single mom, somebody in your community that sees what you're doing and how hard you work. And sometimes I'll just be at the bus stop and someone will say, hey, if you ever need anything or you need a hand, just let me know. And if someone puts that out there, I do take them up on it. I have so many times, and I've even had people comment and say, oh, I can't believe, I said that, but you actually asked. I said, yeah, well, if somebody is going to put that out there and say, hey, if you need me to watch your kids, or you need me to, whatever it may be, I take them up on that. So if someone offers help, don't be afraid to accept the invitation, and know it's okay to ask for help. We can't do it on our own. Sometimes we have to find someone that maybe we pay. I had I still do a great babysitter that goes on the bus with the kids, that she just gets them off the bus for me some days. And, very reasonable. And I can have her for 2 hours, get the kids, and it allows me to stay at the office, finish what I'm doing, or, to get out, with a client to finish, doing some showings at the end of the day. So that's been a great one, finding like a student. Sometimes it's finding someone that maybe doesn't have grandkids. Maybe it's a neighbor that's always waving at you and smiling and loves seeing you out at the park or riding bikes with your kids. And they're just dying to get, interaction with young children and don't even want anything in return. So look around. There are people there to help you, and be open to receiving it. Because I think in life, if you're not open to receiving it, you're not going to see it, and it's right in front of you. So ask for help and get a support system around you. And that's really going to allow you to be able to set those boundaries and do things without just feeling so overwhelmed and that you have no one. Because being a business owner is very demanding. And when you're in real estate, you often have to jump, and I laugh and say how high, but that is how it goes. It's a now type thing. Someone wants to go see a house. It's not next week, right? It's normally not even in 2 days. It's normally like, hey, can we go see it tonight? Or can we see it tomorrow? So have people on speed dial and just start to slowly build a network of people that you can call if you do need them. And I would say that is something that has really, really helped me in my life as being an entrepreneur and being a single mom.
Absolutely. And talking of real estate, we've heard a lot of stories about, especially in Canada, prices of apartments and everything going up. How do you see this trend? Is it good for you, not good for, people are holding on to their demand, not buying houses right now? Or is it the best of? How would you like to explain in terms of the trend in real estate sector at the moment? Especially, you are in Ontario, Georgina, if I understand.
Yeah. So right now, the real estate market, I mean, it's kind of the wild, wild west. I always say, I don't have a crystal ball, right? There's a lot going on with the US that's affecting our real estate market in Canada. But what I do know is right now prices have come down. We've seen them come down substantially since COVID. We've seen our interest rates come down. And I think right now is a great time to buy. Overall, we look back at the history of real estate and what's happened, and it just is like a grid. Like it dips and it goes up and it dips. But real estate over, years and years and years and years and years has always just trended up with little dips down. And in the dips down, you just have to ride the market Don't cash out and get scared because maybe your investment has dropped. But I do know that when prices are down and interest rates are as low as they are now, it is a great time to purchase. So I always tell people, don't wait. Everyone is waiting for prices to drop further, for interest rates to go down further. Another thing is, don't marry the rate, right? The price is what's important, and you do want to buy in low. Interest rates are always going to go up and down. So I think right now is a great time to buy. Selling is a little more difficult, due to the fact that people might have bought high. And if they did, we don't want them to sell right now when we are on a lower position in terms of what you're going to get for your house. But it really is a great time. First time buyers have been priced right out of the market for many years. And now, there is opportunities for them to get back in because we are seeing some open price point inventory, and it's still extremely challenging. I'm not going to deny that. A lot of people just say, but how do you do it? And you have to save, you have to work hard, you have to have a good income, you have to make sure, your credit is in line. There's a lot of things that go into it, but, home ownership is definitely attainable here. And everyone always seems to want to wait. And by the time they do, what happens is the market starts to go up. All of a sudden, everything's selling in multiple offers, and it becomes so challenging to get into the market. So why not do it now? Even if prices do go a little bit lower, I'd much rather get into the market and not have to get in with all that competition and risk prices starting to go up extremely quickly. So right now, I think it's a great time. And an opportunity is also getting into a home that has rental income. Actually, myself, that's what I did after my separation. I was able to purchase another home that had a rental suite in it to help cover the cost of the mortgage. So really, really fantastic idea if you're in a similar position and thinking, how can you carry the whole mortgage? Or even if you're a family and you're trying to get into home ownership, but those mortgage costs are really high, or maybe only one person is working. So find a property that either already has a rental suite in it or something that you can easily convert into a rental suite and get some money coming in that helps cover, a quarter of the mortgage, half the mortgage. There's a lot of opportunities out there to do that. And for me, it was the best thing I ever did. It allowed me to still have my financial freedom. I'm still a homeowner. I still am able to do all the things I would normally do without being so strapped with my mortgage. I'm able to still, have my kids in all the activities. And I also have company. I've got a great tenant that lives in my property, so I'm not here alone. And, it really has been nothing but great things. So I would definitely suggest that to many people that are just struggling to get into home ownership. There's a lot of write-offs and tax implications as well. In terms of if you do have rental income that will be considered when qualifying for a mortgage too.
Absolutely. So real estate, you are there for the long haul now.
I'm in it for the long haul. Yes, I definitely. Yes, I'm definitely in it for the long haul. I guess I'm always looking to grow, whether it's expanding my real estate business, helping more families find their dream homes, or inspiring other, women, single women, whatever it is, to go after their goals. So I'd love to continue sharing my journey through speaking opportunities, podcasts like this, maybe write a book one day. I believe in sharing experiences can empower others to take control of their own lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you do decide to write that book, we will certainly talk again. That will be a good time to talk again. There is so much to learn from you, Mercedes, about living life as a single mom, taking care of your kids, balancing life and work, especially in the real estate, and also your insights into the real estate. I'm sure a lot of people would want to connect with you, learn more about how you do things. Maybe home buyers, home sellers would want to connect with you, be your client. What's the best way for them to connect with you, Mercedes?
Yeah. Absolutely. I would love to connect with people. I always love connecting with people, especially on a similar journey, whether it's real estate, business, or personal growth. So the best way to find me is through Instagram at mercedesweber.realestate. You can also find me on Facebook or LinkedIn.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me.